especially with RVs.
Oh my God, I'm gonna freak out. Okay, go ahead.
So
who knows, crazy as life goes, that we'll write a story we tell to a very own. So let's live, lost in the moment, taking it all in as we go.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorhome Mondays.
another what?
I know,
Okay.
episode of Motorhome Monday. I'm Lynn, he's Jonathan, and we are Create and Capture Life. I said that because we had a few people ask who we were, so now you know. I'm Lynn, he's Jonathan, we're Create and Capture Life. Welcome to Motorhome Monday. We are not trying to be that matchy-matchy couple, in case you've noticed, if you're noticing the shirts, but we were actually out picking up trash at a local park today because it is Impact Day for Wild Keepers, and we are Wild Keeper Ambassadors, which is it's a company called Keep Nature Wild, and basically you do your part to go out and pick up trash in nature. And since we're not traveling right now, we just decided to do it in our own city. So we'll we went and did a good deed today.
Yeah, we picked up a whole bag of trash, but we will take you to the park right now.
Hi guys, we are out here today picking up trash. We are official Wild Keeper Ambassadors. Turn around so they can see the back of your shirt. See the back. We're Wild Keepers. It's part of a program to help keep nature wild by picking up your trash. So we have our trash bags, our trash picker. We're ready to go. Let's see what we get.
Almost a full bag of trash from just the last like hour and a half of walking around this park.
It's only an hour.
Yeah, only an hour.
Yeah, we got here at 3 and it's 4 and got all this.
Yep.
And lots of masks and lots of gloves. So guys, please don't throw your masks and gloves on the ground. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So, but anyway, we're trying to make an impact. Hopefully you will too. And thank you, Keep Nature Wild, for allowing us to be ambassadors, because this is kind of fun.
Yeah. It's good exercise too, which we both need.
And it makes a difference.
Yep.
So,
all right.
bye guys. All right, so you can see how we spent part of our Sunday. We already had dinner, so instead of leaving this video to get dinner,
Yeah.
we will be leaving this video to get dessert, because dessert is being delivered. We made dinner tonight, grilled chicken and Brussels sprouts, but we're having Cheesecake Factory delivered, so.
Now, some of you guys have asked, like, you know, man, you guys sure splurge a lot on delivery food, and yeah, we kind of do. That's our one kind of splurge thing that we do is sometimes we get takeout, you know, a little bit too often, but we're trying to get better. We're going to start cooking at home more often now, just to save some money. So
Well, save money, and also you have to understand, when we're ordering food, we're not ordering fast food either. We're ordering salads and healthier foods. Again, we have kids in the pool, so sorry, we're trying our best. But we do order healthier foods, but not today. Today we ordered dessert from Cheesecake Factory because we deserve it since we went out and picked up trash.
Yep, exactly.
So, anyway, today's topic for Motorhome Monday is we're going to be talking about RV maintenance, but specifically if you're part-time RVer, the maintenance is different than if you're a full-time RVer. So we're going to talk about part-time RV maintenance.
Yep, and for those of you guys that want a little bit more information on full-time RV maintenance, we may do a video about that in the future.
So the first thing we're going to talk about are your tires. Tires are really, obviously, they're very important because the tires are what gets you around. Besides your engine, the tires are the next thing that keeps you on the road.
Yep.
One of the first things you need to make sure is check your tire pressure. That's an obvious one. You do that in your car, you should do it in your trailers, you should do it in your RVs, especially if your RV has been left sitting. Tires do have an expiration date.
Yep.
Which, believe it or not, they do have an expiration date. According to the Department of Transportation, typical tires are good for 5 to 6 years or about 60,000 miles. But in your RV or trailer, that could be different and the lifespan can be shorter.
Yeah, So one thing to know about RV tires is that they usually age out before they wear out. So we're gonna insert some a quick clip here of us checking our RV tire dates and show you how to find that. So this is one of our tires. So there's the Department of Transportation DOT number, and as you can see, there's a series of numbers and letters. But on ours, what we're talking about right now, that is the number that we're talking about. So 1519. That is representative of our tire, this specific tire, and I think most of our tires are roughly about the same age, but this was made in the 15th week of the year 2019. And our hubcap missing right now, but so on this side of the tire, there's only the DOT number. So if you find the DOT number, what you can do is you can take your phone and go to the back side of that tire and use your phone, and you can kind of scan around the tire like I did, and there it is. So I'll send you guys the picture that I took. This tire is 3918, so it's not necessarily on both sides, but it is definitely on one side or the other. So I'll pull it up, I'll zoom it in here. So I don't know if you guys can see in the picture, 3918. So if it's not on one side, put your camera in selfie mode and kind of look around the back side, and then you can use your camera to see the date code. All right, so that is a pretty good, you know, pretty good indicator of the fact that we are getting close to needing to change our tires out too. So
and the funny thing is, if you, like, we bought our rig used, our tires are all different ages.
Yeah.
So our RV has 6 tires plus a spare, and they are all different ages. So that's important to know, especially if you buy used, that your tires may not have the same age.
Yeah, and actually that's a good point. I never checked the spare tire, but by the way, that footage that you guys just watched, if you remember on Friday when I said I slammed my knee against the tire, that was the footage. So.
And if you noticed on last Friday's video, we were both in a really bad mood because there were so many people making noise and dogs barking, and there was a dog fight behind us. And right now we are getting super annoyed because currently there's only 1 kid in the pool. Last time there were like 8 kids. This time there's only 1 kid in the pool, and that kid's making more noise than those 8 kids the other day.
Yeah.
So we're trying really hard to get this video out to you, but this is our 3rd time trying to record this, and we're kind of over it. So we're gonna try our best to keep going. With tires, like you saw in the video, that's how you can check the date of your tires. Also check the tread, but the tread is not always the indicator of the age of your tires. Your tread can look fine and your tires are not in good shape. Yeah, the one thing you need to really check is check for cracks, and that'll be your best indicator of, you know, how your tires are doing. So. And then another thing that you can do, which a lot of part-timers don't invest in, I know most full-timers do, but you can also have a tire pressure, what's it called?
TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. Yeah,
TPMS. You can install one of those. They are expensive, so a lot of part-time RVers don't do that. But if you want to, you can do that, and it keeps track of all the pressure on all of your tires.
Yeah, pressure and temperature, which both are extremely important, because then you know while you're driving down the road, if you're getting close to, you know, either low pressure or high pressure, high temperature, you could be getting close to a blowout or something like that. It's just a great warning sign. So
the other thing you should do is check behind your tires. So you know, your tire faces you and you look at it and you think, okay, it looks fine. Make sure and check the other side of the tires too. Yeah. Because there could be damage, there could be something there that you're not gonna see, and then you don't wanna blow out. And the last thing on tires is, like for us, we're considered part-time RVers, but we take our RV out quite often and we drive it every week. So our tires are gonna last longer than someone who parks their RV in the driveway, in a storage facility or something, and especially if your RV's outside and you don't cover your tires. If you go from, you know, snow to 110 degrees, all of those things affect your tires. So keep all of that in mind when you're storing your RV and checking your RV. Just keep all of that in mind.
Yep. All right, moving on.
Next thing that you need to keep track of, especially as a part-timer, is your generator.
Yep. Keep track of your generator hours. Now, most RVs have a hours counter for while the generator is running. But if you're never using your generator, that's also not good either, because then everything kind of gets stagnant. If you have a standalone generator, like some travel trailers, fifth wheels have like standalone Honda generators or something like that, you got to make sure you're using that because the fuel gets old.
And then you need to check the oil
Yep.
in your generator the same as you would check your oil in your engine.
Yeah.
Because that's really important for generators. So make sure if you haven't been taking your RV out that you make sure your generator is functioning,
Yeah.
the way that it should be.
Yeah, and for us, we have solar, so I very rarely have to turn the generator on. So I make it a point to, about once a month, go on and actually just start the generator, let it run for about 10, 15 minutes, and then shut it off again. So, and we're actually getting pretty close to needing to do an oil change on ours as well. And I'll tell you at the end of this video kind of how we keep track of all of the maintenance.
So the next thing that you want to keep track of, especially as a part-time RVer, is your refrigerator.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that whether you have a, an RV style refrigerator, whether, it's like electric and propane, or, a residential fridge, depending on what kind of a coach you have, both of those require different kinds of maintenance. They both require the same kind of maintenance as far as keeping them clean, stuff like that. With the propane refrigerators, we're just talking about generators, you gotta take the extra steps and make sure that all the gas part of it is all clean, crack the back open, clean it out a little bit, stuff like that.
And then if you're storing your RV and you're storing your refrigerator off, like we can leave ours running because we use our RV quite often, and it runs off propane. When it's parked. So we can leave our refrigerator on if we want to and leave food in there. But if you're not going to do that, make sure that you've cleaned out all of the moisture and all of the food, obviously, in the refrigerator and the freezer, and then store. If you're putting it in storage, especially for a few months or for the entire winter or whatever it is, make sure that you store your refrigerator open. Doesn't mean the door needs to be wide open and just like that, but you could just put, if you have the brackets that close your refrigerator, you can put it so that the refrigerator just doesn't close.
Yeah.
You can put something else in there just so it stays open just enough so that it doesn't get musty or mildewy in case you didn't clean out all the water or there's residual water in there that's gonna melt from the freezer and it's gonna create mold.
Yeah, and definitely, I know there's a lot of mixed reviews on whether these actually work or not, but what can it hurt? The Arm & Hammer baking soda, fridge packs, put one of those in your fridge and another one of those in your freezer.
Yep, but always store it open to
Yeah.
keep the moisture, the air circulating while you're not using your refrigerator. The next thing that we're gonna talk about real quick is check your tanks, especially if your rig has been sitting for a while.
Yeah.
You could have critters living in there. You could have all kinds of things that went wrong. If you didn't winterize and you were in the winter,
Yep.
it could have frozen and cracked. You need to check all these things on your tanks.
Sorry, not COVID. So yeah, and I guess in the parts of the country where it freezes, I guess everybody recommends, you definitely store your tanks empty. If you're not in a part of the country where it freezes, I don't recommend storing your tanks empty. I'd recommend storing your tanks with, at least 5 gallons of water. Put your, obviously, I recommend, like in one of the videos we talked about before, I recommend the RV Digest It product. It's great for long-term maintenance. Same thing with your gray tank. It is, couple 5 gallons of water and some Dawn dish soap, and just leave that alone. Make sure you pour some water down your sink, your faucets and stuff like that. Run those every once in a while, but pour some water down your sink so that your P-traps don't evaporate, because you can get some smell coming up through there. So little things like that, just to keep things fresh.
Because you don't want to have parked your RV for 6 months and then go to take it out and be in the middle of a trip and have something go wrong with one of your tanks, because that would suck.
Yeah. All right,
this is not an editing issue, by the way. If you notice the light difference, the light's changing behind us, so
Yeah.
we just changed the light on the camera, so it's not an editing issue.
So.
For those of you who want to point out to me that I should readjust the lighting, it's camera, not editing. The next thing that you need to keep track of and check on, especially before you take it out after a long time of sitting, is going to be your engine.
And that's if you have an engine. So obviously, you know, your travel trailers and your fifth wheels don't have an engine, but your class A's, B's, and C's, you know, all that stuff, obviously you got a little engine in there. If you are mechanically inclined, you know, check your oils, check all your fluid levels, stuff like that. Check your batteries, because depending on how long it's been sitting, you might have battery issues. And if you're not mechanically inclined, call a mechanic and take your rig over to them and let them, you know, do all of that.
Just do like a little tune-up on it, even if it's just an oil change and check on everything.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's been sitting for 6 or 9 months, which a lot of people do with their RVs, and then they travel in the summer and then they put them away again. You're going to want to check all of those things to make sure that, you know, an engine issue is not going to ruin your trip.
Yeah, and the best thing to do post a long-term storage is take a quick walk around your rig. You know, make sure nothing's crawled up into somewhere where it doesn't belong. Make sure underneath the engine compartment, underneath the transmission, the axles and stuff like that, there's no leaks.
Check your hoses for cracks too.
So all those things, definitely do all that as early and often as possible.
And especially with a class A, B, or C, make sure to check your wiper fluids, because you don't want to be in the middle of somewhere and, you know, a bunch of love bugs in Florida got all over your windshield and now you have no wiper fluid and you're in the middle of the highway. Okay, so the next thing, this doesn't pertain to us, but it could, you know, pertain to lots of other people. If you have slides, make sure and check everything to do with your slides, from the hydraulic system that opens and closes them, the electrical system that opens and closes them,
the cable systems, whatever.
Check all of those things. Make sure that they're not cracked, that nothing around, because of weather, especially if you've stored your RV outside, that nothing has cracked. You know, you want to condition your slides, and you have the rubber around your slides. It needs to be conditioned on a regular basis. And if you've left your RV parked for 9 months, then obviously that didn't happen. So you want to make sure and take care of the slides.
Yeah, and definitely something good to do before you put it in storage is, I believe it's 3-in-1, make some really good RV lube products, lubricant products, and one of the things they make is actually a special lubricant for the slide seals. So you put a little conditioner on there, spray it on, wipe it off, and then put your RV in storage. That way it'll prevent it from cracking, sticking, doing all that stuff.
Right.
It should anyways, that's
and
what they say.
You should be doing this any trip anyway, and that's also make sure when you close your slides you don't have anything on top of them.
Yeah.
Because if you do have anything on top of your slides and then you close them and then you store it, it could be a living creature, it could be anything.
You're in for a stink.
And then it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So make sure before you put away your RV, that your slide toppers are cleaned off.
Yep.
The next thing you're going to want to check if you part-time RV is first aid. So if you have a first aid kit in your RV that lives in your RV, you're going to want to take that out and you're going to want to check expiration dates on medicines. You're going to want to check expiration dates if you have like cold packs. You're going to want to make sure that you're not missing anything, like maybe you used some of the things that were in your first aid kit on the last trip and you forgot you used them and now they're gone. All of those things you're just going to want to check out before you take your RV out again. Yeah. You don't want to go to use a first aid kit and find you don't have something you need in it, or, you know, because that sucks.
Yeah.
So don't do that. So make sure and check out your first aid kit. So the next thing we're going to talk about for part-time RVing, before you take a trip, you want to check out your propane tanks.
Yep. Some travel trailers, fifth wheels have, you know, the standard DOT tanks that, you know, that you change. You take down like to the Tractor Supply or the Home Depot, and you just drop it off and get another one. You do the exchange. So those are great because you don't have to usually worry about the expiration date on those. And some storage places might actually ask you to remove them before you put them into storage.
Remove the propane tanks.
Correct. Yeah. However, if your coach has a ASME cylinder built into it, then you might not be able to empty it. But guarantee you the process of filling those tanks, if you're taking them to a legitimate place that fills them, part of the normal thing they do is check the date code on it, stuff like that, and they'll, you know, if it's out of certification, they'll let you know before they fill it. They probably won't fill it either.
And especially, you also want to check your gauges on if you have gauges on your propane tanks.
Which everybody knows don't work.
And if you have any of the tubing that's connected to your propane tank, the ones, the propane tanks that are part of your rig that you don't take out, like just check all of that.
Yeah, if you have any questions about propane systems, one of the things I recommend is go to an actual like propane vendor. So don't go to like U-Haul. Go to like if there's an AmeriGas, or I don't know if Praxair has propane. I don't think they do, but any of the actual propane manufacturers, distributors, like the big places that have the big tanks. Go to them and ask them if they have a propane specialist that can do a quick checkup on your system. They might be willing to help you out. They might do it for free. So.
And a lot of times people don't realize how dangerous propane can be. They think, oh, that's what I use for my barbecue. It's not. I've heard that from so many people who part-time RV. Oh, I'm not worried about propane. I use it for my barbecue all the time. It's not dangerous. It's very dangerous, and it can be very, very dangerous. So check your propane. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to check is your fire extinguishers. If you don't have fire extinguishers, it's really hard to say that, in your rig, get them.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you do have them in your rig, they do expire. So you want to make sure if you've left your RV parked for 9 months and you're ready to take it out in the summer, that you check all of the dates and functionality on all of your fire extinguishers.
Well, you can't really check the functionality without setting it off, but I know what she means. She means like, can you take it out quickly? Can you, is the pin not rusted in there and stuff like that?
It didn't fall down when it was in storage.
Right.
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, and I've heard this from a lot of people too, is that I didn't know fire extinguishers expire, and they do. And the kind that you buy, the aerosol kind, the just little cans you buy at like Home Depot or whatever, they have expiration dates.
Yeah. Yeah, almost all fire extinguishers do have an expiration date. The chemical that's in them and the propellant that's in them has an expiration date. So check that. If you're not sure, I will almost guarantee this one. Go down to your local fire department.
They will always check them.
Yeah, just pull your fire extinguishers out, take them into your local fire department and say, hey, I have an RV, I'd like to show you my fire extinguishers. Can you guys check them to make sure they're in certification? And they'll look at them in 2 seconds
they
and
will
tell you.
Happily do it for you, and they will do it for free. So if you're not sure, stop by our fire station and have them check them. And you'll meet some great people probably, and they'll do you a favor and make sure your family's safe, especially because we just talked about propane. You want to make sure you have the right kinds of fire extinguishers in your rig, because there's different ones you should have for different reasons.
Yep.
And you also want to make sure that they're good. So if you do go to use them, they work.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we're going to talk about for part-time RVing is check your air conditioner and your heaters.
Yep.
Because critters, again, can get into your air conditioning. They can chew through a wire. They can get into your heating system, in the ducts, especially if your RV was stored somewhere and it was cold and they're looking to get warm. So you're going to want to run those things before you leave to make sure that you don't end up setting off your carbon monoxide or your propane alarm.
Yeah.
Because you haven't checked it, and then you go to use one or the other on your trip, and either they don't work or you set off alarms in your coach.
Yeah. Now I will tell you, as an RV tech, one of the things that I do is I've gotten just recently some folks asking me, hey, can you come just do a quick pre-trip inspection or pre-vacation inspection for me? And that's kind of some of the things that I check. Is I'm checking the air conditioner. I'll climb up to the roof, check one or two, the one or the two, or maybe even sometimes 3 air conditioning units. Just crack the hood on them, make sure that everything looks good. Maybe give them a little cleaning. With the furnaces, you just check where the furnace is, make sure it's all free. I mean, you run it for a few seconds, you're gonna smell that dust burning off. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Check the refrigerator, check all of those different things. So all of those maintenance points, if you are not comfortable doing that stuff, then call an RV tech. It might be worth the, couple $100s that they charge you
just to check everything.
Yeah, just to be completely safe.
To make sure your air conditioner is going to blow cold and your heater is going to blow warm. More likely, part-time RVers are going to want air conditioning because you probably travel in the summer, but either way, you're going to want it to work.
Yeah, so.
We have never used our heater in our RV because we don't tend to ever.
Yeah.
We've lived here for over a year and we've never turned the heater on. That's just who we are. But some people get cold and you might want your heater. I don't know. For us, it's more important to have air conditioning and fans. Check your fans to make sure that they are functional, that latches open, all those kinds of things. And that is our list for now of things that we think, in our opinion, so don't come at us because these are just our opinions, that if you are a part-time RVer, that you should check before you take your RV out.
Yep, and like I mentioned before, and I know this video is a little long, so sorry, but RV maintenance is kind of a big deal for us. So what do I use to keep up with all of the maintenance items and stuff like that on our RV? I use, and we're not sponsored, I'd love to have a partnership with them, but
hashtag not sponsored.
Not sponsored, yeah. But I use the RV Life suite. So like the RV Trip Wizard and stuff like that. There's actually a maintenance portion to that. You kind of put in all of the information for your RV, and what it does is it keeps track of, I put in the mileage, the hours of the generator, all the different things whenever I do a service on the rig, and it will send reminders to my phone via email saying, hey, check your smoke detectors, check your carbon monoxide detector, check your generator, and it not just tells you to check them, but it also gives you a list of your different maintenance points, and inspection points for all of those different things. Check the RV Life Pro app, and it's online and stuff like that. So if you go to like rvtripwizard.com, it's part of that whole suite of tools. You pay we paid an annual subscription. You pay one annual subscription and it gives you everything. And I will say, we'll talk about this at some point in the future. RV Trip Wizard is a great tool for trip planning, but the maintenance tool that's in there, it's great. It definitely helps me keep up on all of our maintenance. So
sorry this video is a little bit longer than our normal Motorhome Monday, but we're hoping that this information helps you guys, if you're part-time RVing, to make sure that your rig is ready to go so that you can have a great vacation and not be dealing with RV problems or trailer problems or whatever on the road, and you can have a fun vacation.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is to be down the road somewhere and have a problem.
Exactly.
So nothing ruins a good vacation like a problem with your coach.
Exactly.
So.
Or your trailer.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We really hope that you had a great weekend.
Yep.
Let me think. I think that's it. If you haven't subscribed, please.
That's a firework.
Almost 4th of July. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you as part of our YouTube family. We do appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for Happy Mail, that you can email us to get Happy Mail. And I guess that's it. And we are just waiting for our dessert. So thank you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. Use sunscreen.
Use sunscreen and get checked for skin cancer. I don't know. I got nothing. I don't know. She just told me that with our health savings account, if we get screened for skin cancer, that we get like some money deposited from our health insurance provider. So let's go get some free money.
Okay. And on that note, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.